Hola, mis amigos y compañeros. Yo soy Mike y bienvenidos a mi canal de YouTube. Now, hold on. I promise you my Spanish is better than that. But I just use that introduction to make a point. That if you're a native English speaker and you try and speak another language, it had better be perfect. I came to Peru about 13 years ago for two reasons. One was to get certified as a foreign language teacher, and also to build up on my Spanish. If you talk as much as I do, you need at least two languages. And then I tried to leave, and just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back. So I spend my days speaking Spanish. A menos que estoy frente a mi cámara hablando con mi audiencia internacional. As I'm talking to you internationally or back in the States. Oh, someday. But God forbid, when speaking Spanish, instead of a TR, I make a CHR, like Tristes Tigres. All the way they laugh at me if I mess up the slightest syllable in Spanish. If I go to Paris and say, Bonjour, je suis American, I wouldn't expect to get immediate directions to the Eiffel Tower. I still don't know how to pronounce this, but I know how to make a Greek deli owner very, very angry. But if you speak English as a second language and you speak with a foreign accent, it builds up credibility. It tells everybody, I speak another language. It tells people that I'm making an extra effort just so you can understand me. And if only you knew what I was really thinking and how deep my thoughts are, and you're just getting whatever superficial level I'm able of communicating in your language. When you speak English as a second language, you can use it as something powerful. You can use it to your advantage. In this video, we're going to look at ways to use your foreign accent to your advantage, and also how to avoid some of the pitfalls and clean up some of your pronunciation so you can sound more articulate without losing your ancestral influence. The number one giveaway is your question intonation. Remember these four letters, Q-A-S-V. In Spanish, we say, ¿Quién ama su vaca? Question word, auxiliary, subject, verb. If your question has a question word like what, where, when, or who, etc., then your question is an open-ended question and should have falling intonation, like what's your name or where do you live? You should have a falling intonation. If your question is what's your name, where do you live? Okay, in some languages, you finish a question with a rising intonation, but in English, an open-ended question ends with a falling intonation. I encourage you right now, write down 5 very basic questions. What, where, when, or who. Don't give me what's your name, something a little more. And make sure that last word is a drops, falls on that. For example, what's your favorite movie? I guarantee you students at all levels will finish that question with a rising intonation. It sounds very indecisive. So learn how to finish that question with a falling intonation. Now, if it's a yes or no question, that means auxiliary, subject, verb. There's no question word, no what, no where, no who, no when, or how many. Then you have a rising intonation. Are you sleeping? Do you like pizza? Rising intonation. Yes, there are exceptions, but those are exceptions. First, you need to know the rule. I always say, in language as in life, you need to know the rules before you break them. In English, there is a sound. The short I. It often doesn't translate to many languages. Certainly doesn't translate to Spanish. That's why people often confuse this and these. This and these. Make sure you learn how to pronounce those. First off, the bite the tongue, muerde la lengua. For all my Spanish-speaking students, this is my revenge when I make them say, for all of the, el ferrocarril es muy rápido, Miguelito. El ferrocarril es muy rápido. No, el ferrocarril es muy rápido, repítame. El ferrocarril es muy rápido. Well, this is my revenge. The TH and the short I. This and these. This, these. Practice it with lots of words. These, this, reach, rich, beach. Moving on to the plural, now we have these and we have those. And of course, this, that, these, those. For your near and far subject and object pronouns and articles. God, I love running grammar. I only give you a few tips because you don't want to suppress whatever accent you have, as long as people understand you. And looking here at this Peruvian 10 sol bill, this is about $3. This is literally a $3 bill. He kind of looks like that German guy from the Three Amigos, doesn't he? One that Ned has to draw down with. Well, speaking of German, I speak about 5 words of German, but I do know how to pronounce this. Mind blown. I don't mean to get political, so I'll talk about a Democrat and a Republican. We had Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Clinton from Arkansas and George W. from Texas, allegedly. I think he was born in Connecticut. But he has a Texas accent. All his years in the presidency, you always saw him stumbling and mumbling. Why? Because he tried to suppress his accent. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it's the same person. Once he takes the governor, no pun intended, off of his accent, just lets it fly. Sounds completely different. And same with Bill Clinton from Arkansas. He never picked up a New York accent living in Chappaqua. I mean, he didn't spend much time in Chappaqua. But, I was so happy when I was the president. I was just so happy to serve the people. Once he lets that accent fly, you can almost believe him. Same thing with George W. Once that Texas accent comes out, that's who he is. You suppress your accent, you suppress your identity. Just let it fly, but make those few corrections. Y te prometo, nadie te va a burlar, fastidiar o dudar tu competencia, tu inteligencia, si hablas con tu propia voz, con tu propio acento. Have a nice night. Enjoy. And no te llores por los tristes tigres que tragan trigo en un trigal.